Hi everyone, it's Dan Sainsbury here. It is sunny Saturday afternoon in April 2016. As you may know, I work as a transformational psychologist and mind and body healer in Southwest London, but work globally. And I just wanted to put a quick video or webinar tutorial together for you, for those people who missed my webinar last week. The title is called, rather intriguingly, Freedom from Fear, Your Enduring Holiday. And the thesis really behind this is the idea that many people escape themselves, their kind of daily consciousness, their what I call quotidian or workaday consciousness. And they have their 2 holidays a year to try and escape. And as Dr. John Demartini, the behavioral psychologist, once said, he said it's quite a kind of bipolar way of going about life to, work in a job you don't really like, earning, fairly decent money to spend a very large sum of that money on holiday twice a year. So my argument is that really you can enjoy an enduring true holiday or holy day every single moment of every day, regardless of where you are and what you're doing. Based on releasing the fear that's in the body, which is, of course, not taught to us, unfortunately, at school, but something that is an extraordinarily powerful thing to be able to clear out of yourself. And I'll explain exactly why I think that. Before I do that, just a little bit about fear itself. So I'm going to be looking at where I think it's come from, and certainly why I really don't think we need it anymore. I think it's obsolete. And then thirdly, I'm going to move on to a technique in the form of a mantra that you can say to the fear itself in the body to clear it. And you can bring it all the way down to 0 out of 10, and that will reveal something to you. So a little bit about fear. Clearly, it is one of the things that really blocks us in our life. And yet, let's face it, is no more than a feeling or sensation in the body. So that tiny little sensation in the body is wreaking havoc on our lives, limiting us, casting a shadow long, and preventing us from really living our full potential. So from an evolutionary standpoint, there is an argument, and this is up for debate, that because evolution is a very slow, blind watchmaker, and fear was probably necessary 10,000 years ago when we had to hunt for our lunch or be hunted. So fear, gave us that kind of edge and kept us on alert. But as I say, because evolution takes a long, long time to take its effect, it means that something like fear may take another 10,000 years to leave our system, because it's a bit like continental drift. It takes a long time for evolution to work through. Many neuroscientists are now becoming performance coaches because they understand the brain's workings very well, and many of them say the same thing, which is that the brain is perfect, but for 10,000 years ago. So there does need to be some very conscious retraining, reprogramming, updating, upgrading, let's call it optimization. And I really think that if we can delete fear out of the mind and body, that is a major part of our freedom. Let's go a bit deeper than evolution. From a metaphysical or spiritual standpoint, I studied for a good 10 years on divinity, philosophy, mind-body connection, and really the source material for me. And actually, a lot of the material that a lot of the kind of modern day spiritual authors take from is they would always quote people like Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson. Some of these guys, Eckhart Tolle, would be quoting from this thing called A Course in Miracles. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to stop reading all that other stuff and just go straight to the source text. And I must say, it wasn't easy. But I cracked on with it. And in actual fact, it was a beautiful, very revelatory text for me. And the Course in Miracles talks a lot about the ego mind and how the cornerstone of the ego mind is fear itself, and how it uses fear as a kind of smoke and mirrors to distract us from seeing truth or seeing clearly. So really, the ego mind in this way is the part of the mind that seems to have been cut off from our source, which we can call God or divine source, divinity. So of course, the ego mind, or this kind of false sense of I, which again is very illusory, because even if you try and sense the I or feel for it within, it kind of escapes attention. It's very difficult to really track down what I actually is. It's really no more than a nebulous set of ideas or feelings. And the ego mind, this separated sense of self, because it's been pinched off, this kind of consciousness has been taken away from, we can call it God or divinity, divine source. Of course it would feel fragile, and hence the fear, because it's a fictitious self that's built on these shifting sands. So taking that further, fear then in that way is the fundamental root of all erroneous, inaccurate, wild projection that the ego mind does. And really it's based no more on imagining, wild imaginings, believing the images, the imagination or imagination, the images in the mind. So when we can clear fear, we simply reveal what was always there, which is your divine or natural inheritance, which I'll speak about a bit later. This is why I think we can discard fear. First of all, it's relative. So it's got all these different qualities, which for me just mean that it's simply not really grounded in universal truth. And therefore we can just clear it. It's relative, which means that not everyone feels it for the same reasons at the same time. There's no universality or commonality in the experience of fear. So let's say there's 1,000 people that have a driving test next week. There's going to be a whole scale or continuum of responses to that driving test between person number 1 and person number 1,000. And there's going to be a bit of a bell curve. So perhaps person number 1 and 10, between number 1 and 10, will be so extremely afraid that they'll be being sick every hour of the day, and in the end they simply can't do it. And then you go the other extreme, maybe person 995 to number 1,000, who are in this kind of blissful insouciance about it. They really don't care, and in fact they just cannot wait to do it because they think, I'm extremely good at driving, I'm going to pass this, I can't wait to drive. Then you get all the collection in the middle, which are pretty nervous. So there's a relativity or spread. That means it's not real. It's only locally real, or kind of real with a small r to that individual. Second reason I think we can discard it is that how many times you've been afraid of something for it to go just fine. So you've been afraid of an interview or an exam or a test or a social function or whatever it might be, and you've been dreading it all week or even all month. And then it comes to the time, it's like, oh, right, why was I afraid? That interview went extremely well. What a lovely guy. It happens too often for you to go, you know what, maybe I should just let this go. So really fear sets itself up as an oracle. It makes you think there's definitely something going to go wrong. But really check in with that. So next time you're afraid of a future event, you're telling me you're psychic because this event hasn't even taken place yet. And you're already telling me how it's going to go. So you're setting yourself up as a psychic. So I'd like you to hear your commentary on that. The third thing is that it's conditional. So it's conditional upon many things, upon your condition, for example. So you might have been doing yoga for 6 months, religiously, let's say 4 times a week, eating extremely well, sleeping extremely well, so incredibly fit. And as a result, you might be feeling much less fear than you ever did before in your life. So the situation or event or an experience that may have given you a lot more fear the year before suddenly isn't. And you know why? It's probably because you've got a lot more natural vitality, natural strength of consciousness now because of all the work you've been doing. So really it's conditional upon your own condition. So that's why it's so important to get yourself into these supreme conditions so we can deal with these little knocks and turbulences within the self. The fourth quality of fear, which makes me think we can just discard it, is that it's ephemeral or transient, which means that you don't always have it. So let's take the example again of the driving test next week. You're not in constant fear and terror all the time, every minute of every day. It comes and goes, it waxes and wanes. Therefore, that makes me again think, well, just get rid of it completely. Just about the kind of practicality of it, of course it hampers performance. If you're terrified of you're on a sporting field or you're about to give a public presentation and you're racked with fear, of course, it's going to, impede your performance. So another great reason to clear it. And last but not least, a major reason to clear it is that it stops us going for what we truly want in our life. Maybe our dream job or dream career or whatever it might be, that dream life. The fear keeps you small. Before I give you the technique to clear fear, I just want to share with you what life is like without it, even for a moment, even if you get it down to 0 out of 10 or even 1 out of 10, just for a moment. When fear is released out of the system, there's a natural revelation, which is actually your resident pure consciousness, which is underneath, the consciousness that is unblemished by fear and anxiety and their related thoughts. So when we have fear or anxiety in the body, to whatever degree, let's say it's at 5 out of 10, then your thoughts will reflect that. Your thoughts will be 5 out of 10 fear-based or anxiety-based. If you're 10 out of 10 afraid, your thoughts will be 10 out of 10. So the thoughts and the emotions, of course, are working in a lockstep. So when you get it down to 0, the whole body and mind completely changes. And what you'll find is you'll have this natural joy. It's just literally bliss. It's what the Eastern, I think it's the Sanskrit language called Sat Chitananda, which means pure bliss awareness or pure bliss consciousness. And it's your true self. It's the true self with a capital S, which is this very natural, intelligent, inspired, generous, loving self, really like the soul self. So this is obviously a great incentive to get the fear down to 0. So what I've written on the slide here, your true power is inspired thought, inspired action, true health. You can call it divine light, divine love. Your soul purpose is likely to be revealed. There's this natural magnanimity to others. So really, there's some performance indicators. So when we get the fear down to the lower levels, all these wonderful things come up in its place. So happiness, clear thinking, intelligence, the expansion of vision in your life. So magnanimity and generosity, love, abundance, presence, and your vibration as well. The technique itself. So I've studied many, many different forms of psychology, psychotherapy, and I'd found about 5 or 7 years ago that I had a very natural healing ability where I could heal even things like broken bones, definitely kind of psychological issues, subconscious issues. And so for me, all I really care about is getting the result. And for me, people talk a lot about mind, body, spirit, and they focus a lot on the mind and body, but they have no clue what spirit is. So my background, actually, I was not very spiritual at all, at least not ostensibly. And I came into it quite late. I hit the limits, let's say, of the material world, where I found by the age of 29, it wasn't doing anything for me, despite overt success in lots of different areas of my life, especially career. In the corporate world, it gave me nothing. It meant nothing, and it meant I had to rediscover what I was here to do. And it was always about helping people. So I'm always on the lookout, and I'm always looking for, and I'm always actually, I suppose some of them are kind of downloads, like inspiration, these techniques that are going to help people at the deepest and most expansive levels. So this technique may seem a little weird on the surface, but it's the one that really works extremely well. So the Course in Miracles talks a lot about fear and how to clear it. And it said that fear and love cannot coexist at the same time. So perfect love casts out all fear. We also know that we're never separate from our source despite appearances. So the very fact we're in a body in this world looks like, where on earth is our divinity. But this particular phrase or mantra that I came up with leverages the higher self or the divine self to do the healing for us. And this is how you do it. So you essentially note the level of fear you have in the body right now. I'm talking about the feeling itself, not the thoughts of it, but the actual sensation or feeling of fear in the body. So give it a grade out of 10. Let's say it's 3 or 5 or 7, whatever. And then say to it directly, God is shining His perfect divine light into this fear now. And just notice that taking its effect. And revisit it. So, okay, what level is the fear now out of 10? Okay, it's dropped a bit. And say it again. God is shining His perfect divine light into this fear now. Okay, so you notice again what's left. And you keep going, keep saying it to the fear itself until you get it down to a very, very low number. Maybe it's a 2 or 1 or 0. And I want you to also note what's happened to your thoughts. They're probably a lot quieter, a lot softer. So what I want you to do now is focus on a particular thing that's giving you fear in your life right now. Maybe there's a situation at work or in a family or whatever. Just pick a problem that's giving you an element of fear. Keep the problem in mind and notice the level of fear again in the body. And say the mantra to that fear again. God is shining His perfect divine light into this fear now. And do it a couple more times. And now revisit the problem. Think of it again. You'll probably notice that the thoughts in the body are much softer and quieter about it, which is giving you a lot more vision and expansive intelligence to deal with it. Okay? So that's it. Very short, very sweet. Really hope it helps. I have something for you for anyone who's listening to this tutorial. I'm very happy to give a number of you a complimentary 20 to 30 minute what I call breakthrough or clarity session. And we can look at any specific unique challenges you may have in your life right now, as well as anything you most want in your life, and what you perceive to be in the way of that. And then we can talk about what I call a success roadmap to get you from where you are to where you want to be. So what I call from the problem to the paradise position in your life. And, I've got a wealth of techniques that, natural healing ability. I can clear energy for you, all kinds of things. And we can make it happen. And the final thing, this technique is actually part of a larger body of work I've put together, which is an 8-week course program called the T-Halo course, the Total Healing and Life Optimization course. So it's 8 weeks. Week 1 is much what we talk about today. So it's how to upgrade and heal your thoughts and feelings about everything in your life. So how to really heal all those limiting beliefs, thoughts, emotions, to give you a much bigger, expanded awareness of who you are and what you're here to do. Week 2 is all about how to pre-engineer success and optimum outcomes in everything you do. So it could be a presentation, it could be a career, it could be just simply a week at work, it could be a deal you're going for at work, it could be anything. Anything you're looking to achieve. There's a method or a technique which allows you to see the best possible outcome and then make it happen. Week 3, I'm going to give you some techniques and teachings around how to uncover and then heal the root cause of your limiting beliefs, so where they come from, and then how to remove them. Again, that will free you up a lot. And of course, if you've got any kind of recurring physical disease, there is a theory, which I do buy into, which is underneath that physical ailment, it has a subconscious psychological root cause. So there's that mind-body link. And so there's a technique, well, there's a few techniques that we can talk through, which reveal the root cause of your physical issue to then heal it. Week 4 is how to heal all your key relationships with parents, loved ones, intimate partners, work colleagues, bosses, because obviously when we have optimized relationships, life is much sweeter and much richer. And there's the 2 major ones we have to heal as our parents, and I'll show you how you do that. Week 5 is how to manifest an exceptional life. So what does that mean? It means that it allows you to see every single aspect of your life, work out what the best possible thing is that can happen, the optimal, and how then to achieve that using the law of the mind, law of vibrational frequency, how to access the higher mind to understand what you truly want, what you hear, all that stuff. Week 6 is looking at the psychology and the subtle energy at play when it comes to wealth creation, abundance, and money. So I've been doing a lot of this kind of stuff recently with clients and seen some amazing results of, just opening up their almost like abundance pathways, and, new clients coming to them, new money is coming to them they didn't know it was there. Lots of different success stories around there. So I'm very happy to share those with you and teach you how you do it, and obviously raise your frequency around that too. Week 7 is looking at the psychology and physiology, which is the body shape of happiness, success, and well-being. So there's loads of stuff I want to teach you and share with you about how to create natural happiness, success, and well-being in the self before even the material shows up. So we have it the wrong way around often, which is that when I have £1 million, then I'll be happy. But if you're wanting something, you're left in want of it. So there's a lot you need to do within the self in terms of, again, vibrational frequency to make you happy now, to make those things come to you much quicker. So I'm going to be teaching a lot how to do that. And that includes about how you hold yourself, how you hold the physicality. And finally, week 8 is looking at how to really nail public speaking and presenting. Once you've got this right, life opens up. You might be a coach, or you might be some form of therapist or teacher, but you might be terrified of public speaking, which is holding you back. Imagine if you had access to global audiences, how much that would open things out. And I will teach you how to clear all the fear and really kind of optimize that. So if you're interested in this, it's delivered one-on-one in person via Skype. And so we'd work together over an 8-week period. The class is usually between 1 hour and 1 hour and a half each week. And as I say, it's delivered just between you and I. And if you'd like more information in terms of the pricing, or even to look at the actual course literature itself, course brochure, then please email me at dansainsbury.healing@gmail.com. So that's dansainsbury.healing@gmail.com, or via the website there, dansainsbury.com. And I wish you all the very best, and I hope that this has helped. Thank you.